What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here to do my final of the 6 Under the Scope videos for the draft. This is going to be for the 2021 draft, obviously the most recent, the most fresh, and obviously also the most incomplete when it comes to, our analysis. But before I do that, I actually do want to give you guys a couple quick bits of additional information that happened and came out today. So just going to go through this really quick. The first thing is as you can see, I'm not going to get into the article, but there's an article, Chiefs signed Damon Arnett. So he was the corner that we brought in from the Raiders after he got cut for threatening somebody on Instagram in a video, threatening to kill them. I don't know who it was. I did see the video, though. A motherfucker was, going hard. But anyway, so, I'm not, but, I bring it up, though, because this is one of the guys who was on our practice squad who technically became a free agent after the year ended, right? So, those are just some of the guys we were to look at for the future and, do they want to bring any of them back, etc. We are actually going to talk about one other guy, though, that's on the practice squad in just a minute, that fell under that category. But the Chiefs are signing Damon Arnett. Honestly, bro, this was a guy that they brought in, another one of the former first-round picks from another team that had off-the-field issues, which was obviously contradictory to we only bring in character guys, which I told y'all they were full of shit about for 3 years, this last regime. But anyway, I digress. And it was going to be a reclamation project. So, and they failed miserably at that. Like every former first round pick, and one or two of them actually went off to be all right. I mean, Taco Charlton was having a decent career after has had a decent career after he left us. Shocker. I think Robert Kimdiche's doing okay, but most of those former first round picks that this regime tried to rehabilitate, it didn't work out at all for us. And so, I was never really a fan of the signing to begin with, even though he's got, maybe a ton of upside. But especially with him trying to, kill people and stuff, that's not something I want to have around in the organization. I mean, that's just a headache waiting to fucking happen. So, anyway, it is what it is. So, he's somebody else's problem now. Real quick, just take a note of this. Dolphins fan roasted the team over a tweet about Liam Eichenberg. And the tweet was that he was one of 10 rookies to start 16 games this season, and of those 10 rookies, he was one of 2 or 3 who played at multiple positions. And then, of course, Dolphins fans, quote tweeted or replied by saying, stuff along the lines of, yeah, but he fucking sucked, so why are you praising about that? That's not something to fucking, it's not some kind of silver lining or some shit, bro. He sucked. He was bad. It was terrible. The whole offensive line was trash. So anyway, we'll get more into that though in a minute because we will be talking about him. But the other thing though that I do want to quickly get into, where is it? Here we go. Just go through this really fast. Dolphins signed running back Jared Doak, so obviously our 7th round pick from this season, and defensive back Quincy Wilson to reserve futures contracts. Let's see. Dolphins drafted Dokes in the 7th round and the 2021 draft. The former University of Cincinnati running back spent his entire rookie season on the practice squad, but could have a more significant role moving forward. Wilson was a Fort Lauderdale native, spent 5 seasons in the NFL, appearing in 32 games with the Colts and Jets. During his 5 years in the league, Wilson recorded 61 tackles, 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. So not really much there. Obviously, he's just signed to a reserve futures contract. And so, we'll see. He's going to be a body in camp, and we'll see if he can earn a spot. Otherwise, we are going to now shift our focus into the 2021 draft. Because, and look, honestly, I guess I could pull it up just for, shits and giggles. But I was going to say we don't really need to look at these guys' stats and stuff because, one, they've only had 1 year in the league. They were all rookies, and it's a very much an incomplete, which does apply. But also because, there's a lot of reasons. But we will take a quick look at it just because it's fun. So, and I'll just say this to kind of, compress this a little bit or condense my, my commentary here. Man, if I could think right. So, to kind of condense my commentary here a little bit, I'll say this. The first 3 picks in this past draft, they all look great in their rookie seasons. The last 4 picks don't look so great. And again, they're incompletes, they're rookies, they still have a long way to go before you can really get a firm evaluation for them. But the 3 for their first season, I will give them all A's for the first 3 picks and F's for the last 4 picks. Now, it's super raw grades right now. Don't read too much into that, but we're going to look at it real quick. So Jalen Waddle obviously looks like he is going to be a star in this league. Hopefully he can remain a Dolphin and produce for us. I have heard that, I had heard at one point that, he might be a player that wants out of the organization as well. Because of all of the nonsense that's been going on the past 3 years, particularly this past year, the division in the locker room, the fighting between, the coaching staff, particularly the head coach, et cetera, et cetera. So the drama that Brian Flores brought here, basically, but he's gone now. So we'll see how that plays out. And obviously they have him under contract for a few years. So it's not like he would have to request a trade, and that'd be pretty intense. And I don't think that will happen. But anyway, so in his first 16 games for, this season, he had 140 targets, 104 receptions, 1,015 yards, 9.8 per reception, 6 touchdowns, a 74.3 catch percentage. And yeah, obviously with Jalen Waddle, they weren't using him very well to begin the season. There's so much to say about it, but I feel like it's kind of unnecessary to go on that big of a tangent about it. He was great. Obviously, he broke, the rookie record for receptions, Anquan Bolden's record. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I really do. This organization and this coaching staff, unfortunately, their first problem is they don't pick guys properly, right? Whether it be in the draft or free agency, they go after the wrong players. That's one of their first major issues. Then they have an issue with developing players. And it's not just over the past 3 years, but it's been over the past 15, 20 years. And then, when they do finally pick the right guys and kind of draft and develop them properly, they end up finding some way to fuck it all up and let them go or screw up the relationship. And so these players want to walk out of here or something like that. So it's just, it's very disheartening. So, unfortunately, as a Dolphins fan, the expectation is that Jalen Waddle will probably in the next few years end up leaving and going somewhere else because that's just kind of what happens with the Dolphins, man. Anyway, but he's phenomenal. He gets an A from me, obviously super early on in his career and stuff, but I think Jalen Waddle is going to be hit, even though I wanted to take Penei Sewell, and I thought when it came to prioritizing, he wasn't the right pick because I do think that there were better options when it comes to prioritizing the needs for the team, like offensive line, for example, and then especially when you're going to spend 2 first-round picks on that player because he cost 2 first-round picks, the pick that we took him at 6th overall and the pick that we gave to the Eagles to move back up, right? So yeah, anyway, quick look at Jalen Phillips, 17 games, had 5 started, the 1 pass defense, 1 fumble recovery, 8.5 sacks. Obviously, that's the big thing there. But with 42 total tackles, 23 solo, 19 assists, 9 tackles for loss, and 16 quarterback hits. Obviously, though, we know, and especially in the early portion of the season, he didn't get used very much. And even when he did, they dropped him back into coverage and stuff like that too when they shouldn't have been, especially not the first year. Just let him pin his ears back and do what he knows and does best. And part of the reason why, I shit on Flores and stuff and why I question his, ability as a defensive minded coach. Why are you doing that? I mean, if you're a genius, to me, I would think that you would know and understand that as a rookie, you probably, even if he's capable of it, even if he's got the athleticism. Just let him do what he knows best in his rookie season so he can, accommodate himself to the NFL, get used to it, get used to being a pro, etc., while also giving him the best opportunity to be effective. Anyway, Jalen Phillips, though, I think he gets an A. I did love him in the draft. I said personally, and I'll keep it real, and I don't have a problem with this. I did say Greg Rousseau over him only because I was concerned about, his injury history. Because concussions, by the way, I just watched Concussion last night, the movie with, Will Smith, and it's fucked up shit. But anyway, and so, I'm happy that Omalu, Dr. Omalu, did what he did and brought that to, the light and to the public and stuff like that. Anyway, so, I was a little worried about that, but from a strictly football perspective and talent perspective, I was 100% on board with his ability, and I love him as a player, and I think that he can certainly be a stud in this league, provided he ends up staying healthy and so on and so forth. So A for him as well, Javon Holland. Now, again, just to be clear, I would have also, with that second pick, I would have picked an edge rusher, but for a lot of this, I would have picked differently, prioritizing from a prioritization standpoint. So if, back in the draft, I actually wanted to take a running back here at this pick, or maybe like a Tevin Jenkins, an offensive lineman, another, one of the really good offensive linemen that were still on the board. But Javon Holland has been very impressive, and I'm certainly by no means upset with this pick, especially at this point. 16 games played, 13 started, 2 interceptions, 10 passes defensed, 3 fumble recoveries, 2.5 sacks, 69 combined tackles, 48 solo, 21 assists, 3 tackles for loss, and 7 quarterback hits. Obviously, pretty phenomenal production from him. And that's the thing, though. Again, he could have been having that kind of late season production earlier in the season. I firmly believe this. If Brian Flores didn't decide to fucking hold the defense back and not play the style of defense that worked for them the entire previous season and in the second half of this year. So anyway, Liam Eichenberg, these last 4, these are going to be super easy. Not just because they were rookies and stuff like that, and because and a couple of them were late round picks, but because none of them really did anything. Liam Eichenberg obviously played, but he was pretty much garbage the entire year. Obviously, that's why I said keep in mind that article about Liam Eichenberg and the statement that the Dolphins made, and then all of the comments that, fans put or replied to or whatever. Like, he wasn't very good, especially because they reached to get him. They moved up from 50 to like 48 or 49 and gave away, a third or fourth round pick from this year, when we could have kept that, and we could have either got Creed Humphrey at number 50, which turned out to be one of the best fucking rookie centers, or one of the best centers in the league this year, let alone being a rookie, right? So like, whatever. And then Hunter Long, like, he didn't do anything this season. I wanted to take Quinn Miners in his spot. And maybe they'll be good players at some point. Potentially could be. Larnell Coleman didn't do anything. He was on injured reserve the entire season. Jared Dokes, they, never used him whatsoever. Practice squad. So, these guys, for the absolute zero production you got from Hunter Long, Coleman, and Dokes, they get Fs. Now, again, that obviously can change, and it could change drastically. You might say that's being a little harsh because a couple of these guys are 7th round picks, but it's, it could change drastically. If this upcoming season they have a major impact on the team, then it could shoot up to a B or an A. Right? Because obviously it's just their first year. Obviously they're rookies and so on and so forth. But right now, and then Liam Eichenberg, especially for a 2nd round pick that you moved up for, like, Jesus Christ, man, like, not very good. So I'm giving Fs for Eichenberg through Dokes, but A's from Waddle to Holland. And, for me, the entire draft matters, right? It's not just the fact that they hit on the first 3 picks. I'm gonna give them their credit, and I'm going to recognize those picks for what they are, the production that they give us, but I'm never going to just be like, oh, that's the only thing that matters. And the fact that they missed on the rest of the picks and previous years, first rounders and so on and so forth, like, all of it is important context to me, especially when I'm doing things like, I don't know, evaluating the people making those picks. So if I'm evaluating Chris Greer, he will 100% get his credit for those, for Waddle and Phillips and Holland, but he's also going to get, dinged for the second half of the draft. He's going to get dinged for Austin Jackson and Noah Igbenogany and Tua if they end up giving up on him. He's going to get dinged on Strowbridge, Weaver, Perry, Prince, and Cox, players from their, these past 3 drafts that they cut. Right? Especially, too, when people will be like, oh, man, but they seem to really hit on the second half of their drafts. Okay, but what about this year's? And what about the previous 2 drafts, the 19 and the 20 class, where 5 players from the second half of those drafts were cut and haven't done any, right? So, look, it's just a matter of keeping everything in full perspective and context, and that's what I'm here to do for you guys. So this is going to wrap up my Under the Scope for the 2021 draft class, and obviously the evaluation continues. Even and just real quick to go back to Tua, even if they do give up on him, the evaluation continues. And that's why now the most recent drafts, there aren't very many players that are not still with the Dolphins, right? Like the entire 2021 draft class is still with the Dolphins because they were just rookies, right? But that's why it is important to keep track of and note, the grades that they would get after having left the Dolphins, because the evaluations still go on, right? It's not like the evaluation just ends when they're no longer a Dolphin. I know some Dolphins fans are like that, but those are casual fans that only ever pay attention to the Dolphins and the here and now, right? This is on this channel and on the other Dolphins channels like Reason and Doug, for example. I love those guys. Those guys are full context, like full-time evaluation of the team. And, for me, I just want to make sure to give you the best and most accurate analysis. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I make sure to analyze all factors that are a part of the Miami Dolphins equation. So anyway, with that, before I get out of here, let me make sure that you make sure to check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it, and they are looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, as well as providing you with an arena to dispute all of the terrible officiating. And so make sure you look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts, share my channel and videos with your friends and family, leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section, and of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it, and this will end it after the shuttle. Taken place here in South Florida. The Dolphins have done it. They keep their season alive. 69 yards. Wow. Pure joy. Miami wins it.